And we are live. Hello and welcome to the Hebrew Cafe's Psalm reading. What we're doing right now, we're doing Psalms. Right now, we are 35 seconds into our time and have no viewers. So once you show up out there, please say hello. Let us know that you're here. In the meantime, let me throw up our names on the screen so you'll see who we are when you drop in. I'm Jason. To my left on the screen is Colton, and down underneath us is Jay.
Also
So
Jason,
we are all here.
that's okay.
Also Jason. Well, I tend to go by Jace. I'm trying to switch over to go by Jace because that's what my mom called me all the time when I was growing up. So that's what I like. Let's see. Remember that we all play around together on Discord server, 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗘𝗥/Discord. Please come over and join us. If you are interested in signing up and becoming a member, join us at patreon.com/thehebrew I wonder, did I forget to advertise it on Facebook this week? Because it's very odd to not have any viewers. Very odd indeed.
I don't know.
I put the links for sure on Patreon, but I'm not sure that I put it on Facebook. I don't want to go check now. Probably didn't.
They were indeed on Patreon. I'm looking on Facebook right now, and I don't see anything.
I don't think I put anything up. That was a mistake because now we have 0 viewers, and that's not good. Oh well, I guess we are doing this broadcast like we do the Wine Green English to Hebrew for future audiences. Oh, we have 1 viewer. Hello, our 1 viewer. I'm going to guess that it's Muriel. That's my guess.
Oh yeah, definitely a safe guess.
Yeah. So we are going to, according to the schedule, we're going to do Psalm chapter 100. But we're actually, because that's only 5 verses, we're going to kick it back to, it's Adel, who could also join us, and Muriel could join us if she were here. We're going to kick it back 1 chapter and go to chapter 99 to give us a little bit more meat, a little bit more something to play with, because doing 5 verses in an hour isn't really speed. All right, so let us, I want to do something a little bit different this week, and that is use the Aleppo Codex as the basic text that we're going to be looking at. So how do we access the Aleppo Codex? Let me put up on the screen exactly what we're doing. This is a website called mgketer.org. Keter is the Hebrew word for crown, keter, or like a king. But it's also the word that's used for a template from which copies were made of the biblical text. So the Ketarim, the keters that are the most important, obviously the prime keter was the Aleppo Codex, which has been damaged, but we still have a large part of it. So this website gives us a lot of information about the text of the Hebrew Bible. If you look at, when you open the page, you're going to see a title there. Let's see if I can make it bigger. That title in the middle says Mikraot Gdolot HaKeter. Okay, HaKeter is the like the template. It's the piece that we're going to work from to write up other texts. And then you see little bubbles around it. Well, first of all, this little bubble says Odot, which means about. It's the about page for the website. We're not going to look at that. Underneath it, we see these red, orange, green, and blue. The red says Targum Arami. That's the Aramaic Targum. We're going to ignore it. The Masorah, like the Masoretic notes that go on the text. Underneath the blue says Perushim. These are commentators like Rashi and the Rambam and Rak. And then the big orange one says Tanakh. Tanakh is the Torah, Nevi'im, and Ketuvim. These are the 3 parts of the Hebrew Bible. And specifically it says Keter Aram Sova, which is the Hebrew title of the Aleppo Codex. And the Aleppo Codex is the Keter, the crown, the Aleppo crown. That's the text that we want to see. So we click on Tanakh, and underneath we see Chipus, Iyun, and Tikkun Korim. Tikkun Korim is what you would use if you're preparing to read the text publicly in a synagogue, because it'll give you the text without points, and then when you mouse over it, it's going to give you the points in the Talmud. So we're going to go to iyun. Iyun is like a review, to look over something. So we're going to look over it. It's from the word ayin, the ayin, to view, to review. And we're going to go here. The first says hatzeg. It means to display, book, and chapter, perek. So we're going to go to book. We have Torah, Nevi'im, prophets, and Tzayasar. These are the 13 prophets that go together like the minor prophets. And then Tuvim, these are the writings. So the writings, the first one we see is Tehillim, that's the Psalms. Psalms, Proverbs, Job, Song of Solomon, Ruth, Lamentations, Kohelet, and so on. We're going to go under Tuvim to Tehillim. It'll help you get used to also to reading the books in Hebrew, not relying on English. This is Psalm chapter 1. Okay, Perek, Aleph. Aleph is 1. We're going to display the Tanakh ve'azarim nosafim, other helps. And we're going to go to Silum Keter, like this is the Ktav Yad. Ktav Yad is a manuscript. It's a Ktav Yad. I don't know if you can make that up, but it's Kaf, Tav, and then Yod. Ktav Yad, it means manuscript. Keter Aram Sova, which is the Aleppo Codex. We're going to click on that. It opens it up over on the left. This is the Aleppo Codex 4. If we click this button, it'll bring it up, and we can scroll into it. Where the red brackets is, that's our chapter. This is chapter 1 of the Psalms. We're going to skip chapter 1 because we want to go to chapter 99. So we're going to go Perek and go all the way down. If we look for Kuf, Kuf is 100. There's 100, Kuf. So just before it, Tzaditet, this is 99. This is chapter 99. And we'll make it big and zoom in. We find those red brackets marking our chapter. So that's what we're going to zoom in on, and that's what we're going to read. Okay? If you want to have a copy of the text open beside you, you can feel free to open your VHS. You can open whatever copy you have of the Hebrew Bible. It's going to be the same if that will help you read. But we want to practice today reading from the Aleppo Codex as best we can, because this is, when we think of the text of the Hebrew Bible, this is the Hebrew Bible. And what we have is the VHS, the Biblia Hebraica Stuttgartensia. This is based on the Leningrad Codex, the WLC, Westminster Leningrad Codex. And it takes into account the Aleppo Codex. It would be based on the Aleppo Codex if the text were complete. But we don't have the complete text because it was majorly damaged whenever the state of Israel was declared, and there was riots in Aleppo and in a lot of other places. It ended up that the pages were torn from it. There are rumors that it was burnt, but a large portion of the text was preserved, as we can see here. This has been digitized. I want to show you this book real quick. This is called 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗘𝗥𝗡𝗙 Yerushalayim. Keter, again, is the crown. It's the Jerusalem crown. This Bible is the official Bible of the Hebrew University in Jerusalem. And it is based on the Aleppo Codex as far as we have the text preserved. And wherever it's not preserved, it's filled in from the Leningrad Codex. But it's an excellent text to have if you can get your hands on it. I definitely recommend it. But we're going to read from the Aleppo Codex today. Who wants to begin? Jay is joining us for the first time on camera, I think.
Hello.
It's your first time joining us on camera, right?
It is my first time, yeah.
Do you want to begin the reading?
Yeah.
Please feel free.
Adonai Malach Yirgzu Amim Yoshev Karuvim Tanut Haaretz.
All right. Notice that the Aleppo Codex, at least in this chapter, in this page, is missing the 2 dots of the Sof Pasuk. In other chapters of this codex, it is present, but in this one, it's not. All right. Adonai Malach Yirgzu Amim Yoshev Krovim Tanut Haaretz. What does that mean?
The Lord reigns. May they tremble, the people. Let the people tremble.
But it's peoples, it's nations, right? It's people
Peoples.
groups. Mhm.
He is seated on the cherubim.
So it could be referring to the idea that God rides on a chariot that's pulled by cherubim, right?
One of the things I was looking at said like actual cherubim, like in the Ark of the Covenant.
Mhm.
But I don't actually.
But I mean, what would that be? That he sits on them, or that he
I don't
uses
I
them
don't know.
for
It's
momentum?
confusing.
Mhm.
Let's see. And let the earth quake.
Mm-hmm. All right, we have to guess at that word, Hanut, because this is the only verse in the Bible in which it's used. It doesn't appear anywhere else. We get the meaning according to Halot from 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗘𝗥. Let me pull that up real quick. Hold on, I've got that here somewhere. I'm going to change my screen share just a second. Okay, should be able to see it now. Go up, 99, Hanut. Okay, notice it's from 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗘𝗥, the NTT to totter.
We can't see anything.
𝗔𝗕𝗦𝗥. Oh, you can't. Oh, gotta bring it up. Sorry. So on the right side, you see NTT, Nun Tetet, to totter, from the Gordon textbook of 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗥 and other places. There's an Arabic cognate, nut, whatever it would be, to hamper. And he says that they say that it might be instead of tanut, tamut, and mut like tamot. Lamot raglaim. I don't know if you're familiar with that. He shall not. Remember in where he says that he will not let your foot stumble. Right? Doesn't matter. The idea is that first of all, 𝗥𝗚𝗛𝗪, like that would be they would tremble or shake, be in an uproar. I think we had that in chapter 1, right? Psalm chapter 1.
Yes.
2.
Yes.
Chapter 2.
Okay.
רגזו גויים. למה רגזו גויים? רגשו. That has to be related. I didn't look it up, but let's go back to it. Okay. יירגזו, להרגיז in modern Hebrew means to irritate, to make somebody upset, to make them shake. Okay. Great. All right. Cool. But it is worth noting that word lanut is only used in this one verse. You can see it that it's only Psalm 99:1. So you wouldn't learn it in a vocabulary list. All right, verse number 2.
Okay. Adonai b'tzion gadol, v'ramhu al kol ha'amim.
Adonai b'tzion gadol, v'ramhu al kol ha'amim. All right, what's got there? What's it mean?
All right. The Lord is great in Zion, and he is lifted up over all of the peoples. Peoples, to be specific. Say that better. Yeah.
Why would it mention Zion and all the people? I mean, what do you think he's pointing out? What kind of God are we talking about?
Universal God.
A universal God, yeah.
Yep.
Because if it's, most of the gods have their little nation state that they are patron of. But this says that God is great in Zion and exalted over all the people.
Right.
So it's not just God in Israel. Right?
Yeah. there's part of me that reads it as though, as reading it as though he is God in Israel, though. Like he, that's the, like, it's necessary to say that, and like he is the God of Israel. However, he is also the God of all the nations. Like it is this extension to every nation, but not at the exclusion of Israel, so to speak.
Yeah, and that's the extension, that even though God was the God of all nations, he took Israel as his own inheritance. This was
that's
Deuteronomy chapter 32.
Yeah, thank you.
Mm-hmm. And we're going to see that later in this chapter as well, right?
Yeah.
Lo anachnu, there he is. All right. So the next verse, I believe it's verse 3. It must be. It says, "Yodu shimcha gadol v'norah kadosh hu." I want to separate off the last phrase, kadosh hu, and just look at the others. Yodu shimcha, give thanks, would be like. It's interesting because it could be Yodu l'shimcha, give thanks to his name, or it could be that gadol v'norah are giving ascriptions to his name. So it's like confess his name as great and power and awful, or great and awesome. Like lehodot can be to confess or to say something out loud, or it can be to give thanks. The same word, lehodot. So let's see how that's translated in the NRSV real quick, just out of curiosity. The Lord is great in Zion. He's exalted over the people. Let them praise your great and awesome name. It's kind of odd because it doesn't say. You would expect this to be definite. Shimcha hagadol v'hanora. Your name, the great and the awesome. So I would probably read it a bit differently, like let them say, or let them confess your name, great and awesome. Let's see if there's any other rendering. Let them praise your great and awesome name.
Your name. So, like, are you saying let them praise your name? Like, is it modifying the way?
Well, look how this one says. Look how this is the Tanakh 1985 from JPS. They praise your name, okay, and your name is the object, as great and awesome. Like it's indefinite, because the problem is that there's a disagreement of definiteness.
Right.
Shimcha is definite and Gadol v'Norah is indefinite. So it can't be in the attributive position. It can't be your great and awesome name.
Yeah. What if it's adverbial? That is the question I was trying to get at. Let them praise your name greatly in trepidation, like in fear.
I don't know if Gadol and Noah being used as adverbs. I don't know that. I don't know, but I want to separate off the word kadosh hu, because it seems to be a refrain in this passage. Like it's repeated 3 times, and I don't think it has anything to do with the line that's in front of it. It's kind of like just something that they're shouting out, kadosh hu, he is holy. And we're going to see it. We're going to see why it doesn't really make sense. I mean, if you strung it together with all of the rest, you could say, let them ascribe your name great and awesome. It is holy. Like it could make sense in that line, but in the lines down below, it doesn't make sense. And it would seem that this is a refrain that's sung or spoken by the answerers, those who are attending whatever religious service this is. All right, verse 4. We're back to Kirkpatrick.
Va'oz melech mishpat, 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗘𝗥𝗡 misharim mishpat utzedakah b'Yaakov ata asita.
All right.
Let's see. The king loves.
All right. This
was really hard. The king in his strength loves justice.
It is interesting. It is very interesting. It says, Oz melech mishpat ahev. It seems backwards, doesn't it? You would think it would be like melech az. Az is strong, a strong king, a powerful king. And you would think it would say ohev mishpat, loving justice. So it's like the constructs are backwards. Instead of ohev mishpat, we have mishpat ahev. Justice, loving. Right? Oz melech, strength of king.
Yeah, I just keep throwing out other ways. So like, a strong king who loves justice, but the mishpat would be fronted like mishpataha, like justice he loves.
I wonder if Oz is the subject of a head. The strength of a king loves justice. This isn't how they translate it. But.
All right.
Look at the JPS is the meaning of the Hebrew is uncertain. Verse 4, a mighty king who loves justice.
When the Hebrew Bible says we don't know what the Hebrew word is. No, I'm just kidding.
But Oz melech seems backwards. You would think it melech az. Az is the adjective. Oz is a noun, strength.
Strength of a king.
Strength of a king, justice loves.
Is the love of justice. The strength of a king is the love of justice.
But the love of justice would be ahavat mishpat.
Yeah, I know.
All right. 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗚𝗛𝗢 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗚𝗛𝗢. What does it mean?
Let's see. You have established uprightness.
Mishpat tzedakah.
Shafat is
Lishpot is to judge, but mishpat is a noun. But mishpat is a noun meaning judgment or justice.
ESV says you have executed justice and righteousness in Jacob.
Okay, it doesn't look like that's the breakup of the verse in the Hebrew. That in Jacob, the Yaakov goes with the other part. B'Yaakov ata asita. So, mishpat tzedakah, b'Yaakov ata asita. Okay, you have performed mishpat and tzedakah, whatever you would say they are, just judgment and righteousness in Jacob, meaning in Israel. You'll notice that there is a line placed over in the Aleppo Codex. There's a line placed over the Beged Kefet letters that are soft, and also over hey when it's a vocalic hey, like a vowel. Yeah. And also you would see it over aleph when aleph is quiescent. That's fun. It's called rafeh, by the way. Then the mark is called rafeh. Okay, great. The next verse. Let's look real quick first at this right here. Look at verse 5 right here. This is from the DHS. You see the word? Notice if there's a difference in the Aleppo Codex.
Okay. Romamu Adonai Eloheinu. V'hishtachavuu Hadom, Raglav, Kadoshu.
Yeah. Remember that the BHS, the Biblia Hebraica Strukturkensia, is based on the Leningrad Codex. So this is what's found in Leningrad. But in the Aleppo Codex, we have the 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗘𝗥𝗩𝗚.
Yeah, under and meme, which is strange, but happens.
Not a name.
And
It's an imperative.
I said it was under a mem.
Mem. When you said name, I thought you said a name, and I'm like, that's nobody's name.
Yeah.
Under the mem, yeah.
Mem.
So what does it mean? When you have the 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗘𝗥 under a consonant that is not a guttural, all it is doing really is stressing so you don't miss the fact that this is a vocal shva. It's not saying that you should say romamu, it's still romemu, but you need to make sure it's vocal. That's what they're telling you.
Yeah. Okay, in terms of translating it, let's say, so this is, lift up the Lord our God and worship, and worship
L'ishtachavot generally means bow down. Yeah, bow down to the Hadom Raglav. What's Hadom?
Yeah, the stool of his feet, but the footstool. Yeah.
We still use the word Hadom for a footstool.
And then holy is he.
Kadoshu. So here you really see that Kadoshu doesn't belong to the line, right?
Yeah.
It must be a refrain. Ishtachavu la'adom raglav kadoshu. He is holy. It's like this is a parenthetical thing that's just been inserted in there. This is the second time.
It's funny because in this, in the Septuagint, they connect the phrase with hoti hagiosistin.
Because okay. So bow down to his footstool, for he is holy.
Yeah.
But in the Hebrew, we don't have ki kadoshu. Like there's no reasoning associated with it. It's just inserted. All right.
And then, sorry, I just got nosy. Up in verse 3, they say hoti foberon kai hagion esti.
For Beteron? What are you saying for Beteron?
Foberon, hoti foberon.
Foberon.
Yeah, foberon.
For fearful, or something to be feared.
Yeah, that's how they read that Norah there.
And so this one, notice it says, let them confess to his name, the great one, because it is fearful and holy. That is, his name is. Yeah. So they've taken the Norah, the word Norah, and made it Foberon. And then they've joined it together with the Hagion, holy. That's interesting, but it's not what the Hebrew says. Great. Let's go back to the Hebrew. It is interesting how they dealt with it because obviously the text is difficult. It's not not perfect. All right, Moshe v'Aaron kechohanav, okay, as his priests, Moses and Aaron as his priests, u'Shmuel b'korei shmo, and okay, kekorei shmo. It's ke or be? Bekorei shmo. So these are this is Samuel among those who call out his name or who read his name. That is the priests also, isn't it? Like, well, it's supposed to be referring to the prophets, obviously, because Samuel's a prophet. But he's among those who call the name of God. Probably he's the one who calls out the name of God in front of the people to call them to repentance, right? And then we have an interesting word that I asked about this week. If you can see the pointer. Can you see the pointer on that line right there? It says 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗚𝗛𝗡 v'hu ya'anem, and then we have Sof Pasuk. First Sof Pasuk in this chapter. 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗚𝗛𝗡 v'hu ya'anem. They cry out to God, and He answers them. But notice the weird thing about the word korim is that the aleph is quiescent. It has the rafeh above it. And it also bears no vowel. It's as if it were not there. Probably this indicates a late pronunciation, I would assume. As we go into like the Mishnaic korim, they call without aleph at all. The Aramaic, not Aramaic, the Mishnaic Hebrew actually gets rid of the aleph altogether. And it says likurot and korim.
How do you feel about calling to the Lord so that he will answer them? Or that he may answer them?
𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗡𝗙. I don't know, it feels just future, doesn't it? Like it just feels like 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗡𝗙.
Yeah.
קוראים אל אדוני והוא יענם.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out like what to do with the korim versus the participle versus the 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗡𝗙.
Well, I think it's a gnomic 𝗥𝗘𝗦, like it's timeless. It's God always answers when they call. They call to God and he answers them.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't hold himself back. That's how I take it. All right. Now we're back to J on Be'amud.
Be'amud anan yadaber hello Elohim.
Alehem.
Shamru edeta v'chok natan.
Edotav. Shamru edotav v'chok natan lamo.
Let's see. In the pillar of a cloud, he spoke to them.
Well, I would take it as a gnomic. He speaks. He speaks to them in the pillar of cloud. Because even at the time when the tabernacle and temple were established, we still were supposed to think that there was a cloud of smoke that settled over the Holy of Holies.
I had a question. I saw this was a PL. Is that any different than like a cow for this verse?
There is no kal for this except in the word dover.
Oh,
Dover is a speaker or a spokesperson, but the verb is always in the PL.
okay. Let's see. They kept his testimonies and the statute he gave to them.
So probably the chok is after it, we're missing a word like we were before. Shamru edotav v'chok asher natan lamo, like which he gave to them. Right? They kept his testimonies and the law that he gave to them. Probably, right? How does it? Let's see how it's rendered in the translations. I didn't look at any translations, by the way, so I don't know. Moses and Aaron among his priests, Samuel among those who call on his name. When they called to the Lord, he answered them. He spoke to them. So they're taking it also in the past tense. This is the JPS. He spoke to them in a pillar of fire. They obeyed his decrees, the law he gave them. I don't know if the law he gave them here means he gave them a law, like the law here is an object, or if it's supposed to be missing the relative clause, which it seems to me, the law which he gave them. Right? That's how I read it, that the word asher is missing. Like it's supposed to say the law which he gave them. He spoke to them in the pillar of cloud. They kept his decrees and the statutes that he gave them. So I assume that asher is missing from the Hebrew. It's supposed to be supplied.
Yeah, they have a relative in the Greek for what it's worth. 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗡𝗙.
How are you looking at the Greek all the time? You just got it pulled up over there?
I do. I have it pulled up on Step Bible. I have them side by side with Hebrew.
I just found Step Bible this week.
Snauton. And Stulo Nofeles Elale Prosautus, it also takes it as a past tense. He would speak to them. Ephalus onta marturia autu, eta postagmata ha edukinautois. And so this takes also like the hook as a plural, which the New Revised Standard Version also did. It took it as a plural. The statutes, whereas the Hebrew has hook as a singular. Maybe it's a collective idea. All right. So it's important to note that the word lamo is like lahem. It means to them. The hook natan lamo, to them. So the ending amo and emo is an alternative to hem. All right, Adonai.
Adonai Eloheinu ata anitam el nosei hayit.
Anitam.
Why?
Isn't it? Hold on, it is marked as anitam, but it doesn't. It feels like that should be heavy. Oh, it's got a double accent. So it's got the ole and then what looks like mercha. I'm not sure what it is.
What should I do?
It's got two accents. It's the second one, anitam.
Okay. Anitam el nosei hayit lahem. V'nokem al alilotam. Sorry, al alilotam. Sorry. Get that. Okay, the Lord our God, you
Anitam.
You answered them.
Yeah.
For a forgiving God you were to them.
And so nosei as forgiving means that you bear them, like you put up with them, you tolerate them, you don't cast them off and destroy them. You bear them.
Sorry, and then
Kemal alilutam.
Avenging upon their deeds. Avenging. Is that right?
Let's see how it's been written.
Okay.
You answered them, you were forgiving God to them, but an avenger of their wrongdoings. But. So the vav is taken as contrasted. Venokem al alilutam. Alilot doesn't have to be bad deeds. It can be any deeds, but we know that when they're wandering in the desert, they had bad deeds.
Also, like Nokem seems to be pretty, avenging. Typically something is done wrong first.
Yeah, definitely. Again, Romemu with the Chataf Patach. It should just be read as vocal shva. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu, like lift up our God or exalt our God, v'yishtachvu l'Har-Kodsho, and bow down to His holy mountain. V'yishtachvu l'Har-Kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu. This is the third time. The first two times it said kadoshu without any logical connection. But in this case, the word ki is a logical connector. So it says, exalt the Lord our God and bow down to His holy mountain, for the Lord our God is holy.
That's nice.
All right. Yes. Let us continue to Psalm 100, the one right underneath it. This one was our regular scheduled program. And we'll open up with Mizmor David. Hariu l'Adonai kol haaretz, ivdu et Adonai b'simcha. Is that the end of the verse? There are again no marks. Kol haaretz is the end. Sorry. So let's go back. Mizmor l'Todah, hariu l'Adonai kol haaretz. That's the end of the first verse. So a song of David, or a song of thanksgiving. Todah, not David, but Todah. Shout to the Lord, all the earth. Leharia is to make noise, to shout. It can also be to sound the trumpet. Hariu l'Adonai kol haaretz. All right. Jay, you want to take the next one?
Ivdu et Adonai b'simcha, bo'u lefanai birnana.
Bo'u. בואו לפניו ברננה.
Birnana.
Yeah, ברננה. It's a B.
Oh,
ברננה.
Birnana. Oh, okay.
ברננה. ברננה. עבדו את אדוני בשמחה. Meaning?
Serve the Lord with joy.
Mm-hmm.
Enter into his presence with singing
Sure.
songs.
It could also just be come before him. בואו לפניו, come before him. Serve the Lord with joy. Nice. The word "ivdu" is imperative, right? "Ivdu," do it. Notice the rafeh above the dalet and the bet, or it's functioning double. It's both saying that the bet is soft and the dalet is soft. Both of these are baguette kefet letters. Notice also, interestingly, that there is no rafa or rafeh above the hey in the holy name. 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗡𝗥𝗡. It does not have rafa above the hey because the hey is consonantal. Notice also above in the previous line. In the entire document, when you see the hey on the 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗡𝗥𝗡, it is not marked as a vowel letter. But if you looked at the word toda above, it's marked with the hey, the rafeh on the hey. Let's see another one. And the word simcha in the line you just read. Ivdu et Adonai b'simcha. The hey is marked with rafa to say that it is a vowel. And at the end, bo'u lefanav biranana. The hey is marked with rafa. Why do they do this? When hey is a vowel letter, it is marked with that line above it. But 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗡𝗥𝗡 is not marked with that because it's not a vowel. Which means that the kamatz hey doesn't belong to this name. And the Masoretes knew it and they marked it. Very nice, right?
That was a long train of thought.
I know. What does this even do?
Serve. Eved to serve, isn't it? Servant.
Okay, you're getting to it. The idea of being a servant or a slave, right? Eved. When it's used of God or false gods or whatever religious context, we take it as worship. You worship God or you serve God. You perform a religious duty, an obligation.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Next, Deu.
Deu ki Adonai hu Elohim hu asanu velo anachu.
Asanu.
Asanu. Hu asanu velo anachnu. Amo vatson marito.
Okay, you can probably see over on the right side. First of all, there's a circlet on the word lo. Velo. There's a circlet. Mm-hmm. And it's telling us to look at the margin. On the right, it says velo, and it has a vav. This is vav, velo. And then it's got kuf resh yud. This is kri. This means ktiv kri. So it's telling us that the kri of velo is velo. It doesn't mean he made us and not we ourselves, which that's how it could be read if that were just by itself, right? Hu asanu velo anachnu. He made us and not we, like we didn't make ourselves. But it should not be read like that. It should be read Hu asanu velo anachnu. And we are his. He made us and we belong to him. Right?
Yep.
You want to tell us a little bit about the verse?
Sure. So know that the Lord, he is God, and he made us, and not and to him, and we are his people, and his flock. He shepherds. He shepherds it, shepherding it.
Okay, the sheep of his pasturing.
Pasturing. Okay.
His shepherding. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was sorry, no, I thought that was a Mariot.
Marito.
Yeah, right. No, I thought it was a infinitive. Like I got
Because they're Aramaic.
Yeah, I thought.
Okay.
I thought. Yeah, no, I thought it was a hifial participle for a second, and I just kind of conflated the participle and the infinitive construct together.
I thought you were taking it as an imperative marked with mem, like in Aramaic.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, could be.
Yeah.
That'd be funny. Yeah, no, there was some nonsensory going on in my head, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What was I going to say?
Why would we not read it as lo anachnu? Hu asanu velo anachnu. Why would we not read it that way?
Why wouldn't we read it that way?
Yeah. Why doesn't it make sense to read it that way? Hu asanu velo anachnu amo v'tzo marito. Does it make sense to read it that way? I don't think it does, but do you think it does?
I think it could if we read it. So this is in pause, so this ends a thing. And I think it could be its own clause immediately following it. That might be why he is fronted.
You see this? This is the King James. Know ye that the Lord, he is God. It is he that hath made us, and not we ourselves. This is how I memorized it when I was a kid. And that's literally what the Hebrew says in the 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗘𝗥𝗡. It says,
Right.
Where are we? 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗚𝗛𝗙 hu Elohim, hu asanu velo anachnu. He made us, and not we ourselves. Amo v'tzo marito. It doesn't make sense because there's nothing to go with this.
Yeah, I see.
If it had said, Hu asanu velo anachnu amo v'tzo marito. We are his people and the sheep of his pasture.
Yeah,
there would be something missing. But he made us and not us doesn't work.
Yeah, reading it as the 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗘 doesn't.
Even though the King James did that.
Yeah, it's a non sequitur.
This is the NRSV. Know that the Lord is God. It is he that made us, and we are his. We are his people and the sheep of his pasture. They repeat the word we.
Yeah. So on the asanu, I see that it is long in the second vowel. So yeah, I'm with you. What is the accent doing? Why is it on the first vowel? And I don't see
this is a great translation. This is the old JPS 1917. Know ye that the Lord, he is God. It is he that hath made us, and we are his people and the flock of his pasture. That's a good translation. Let's see the new Tanakh. If I can find it. 1985, right there. Acknowledge that the Lord is God. He made us, and we are his people and the flock he tends. It's great. So what's the question about the accent?
On asanu.
Because this is a pre-positive accent.
That's not what I have. Okay. Why?
we have some accents that are pre-positive and post-positive.
Right.
They don't appear on the stressed accent.
I'm just saying that you can't blame me.
Yeah.
All right. No, I see that it's long and that it's in pause, but I just don't. Yeah. What else am I supposed to do? I guess is my point.
It doesn't even have to be in pause. Asanu would be the same either way. He made us. Hu asanu velo anachnu. Yeah. There's no pause necessary with it.
It'd be asinu though. What?
No. Hu asa otanu.
Yeah, it has to be with an A. Yeah, it has to be with an A for the connecting vowel. Okay.
Yeah. All right, and the next verse, bo'u she'arav, it looks like. Betoda. Okay, this toda doesn't have the rafe above the hay or the top. Okay, bo'u she'arav betoda 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗘𝗢𝗙 𝗥𝗑𝗦𝗙. Is that the end of the verse?
No.
Hodulo baruch shmo. Again, notice the resh has the chataf patach. It's only to mark it as a vocal shva. Hodulo baruch shmo. Okay, so come or enter his gates with thanksgiving, his courts or his courtyards in praise. Give thanks to him, bless his name. Bo she'arav, the lavo can take an object to say what you're entering. So bo she'arav, enter his gates, betoda, with thanks. 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗘𝗢𝗙, his courtyards, his courts, 𝗥𝗘, 𝗥𝗓𝗦, with praise. Lehalel is to praise, right? Hodu, give thanks to him, lo. Baruch hu, to bless, levarech, baruch hu, shmo, bless his name. All right, that one's pretty straightforward, I think. And then I think just one verse is left.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Jay Kirkpatrick, you want to tackle that one first, beginning with Ki Tov Adonai.
Ki tov Adonai la'olam chasdo v'ador emunato.
Yep.
For the Lord is good, forever is his love, and from generation to generation is his faithfulness.
All right, great. This is, again, the Aleppo Codex. You can find it on the website 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗘𝗢. It's really, really good resource if you can learn to use it. Let's read very quickly through the verses again for a close-up. Verses 99:1. Adonai malach 𝗥𝗘𝗦𝗪 amim, yoshev krovim kanut haaretz. Adonai b'tzion gadol v'ram hu al kol ha'amim. Yodu shimcha gadol v'nora, kadosh hu. Be'oz melech mishpat ahev. Ata konanta mesharim, mishpat u'tzedaka b'Yaakov ata asita. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להדום רגליו, קדוש הוא. משה ואהרון בכהניו ושמואל בקוראי שמו, קוראים אל אדוני והוא יענם. בעמוד ענן ידבר עליהם, שמרו עדותיו וחוק נתן לנו. אדוני אלוהינו אתה עניתם, אל נושא היית להם, ונוקם על עלילותם. עלילות. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו, כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו. מזמור לתודה, הריעו לאדוני כל הארץ, עבדו את אדוני בשמחה, בואו לפניו ברינה. It's hard for me to say this because I want to say ברינה, but it's ברננה. דעו כי אדוני הוא אלוהים, הוא עשנו ולא אנחנו, עמו וצאן מרעיתו. בואו שעריו בתודה, חצרותיו בתהילה. הודו לו ברוך שמו. כי טוב אדוני לעולם חסדו, ועד דור ודור אמונתו. Then we got 2 chapters of Psalms, yay. And so next week we're going to capture. Does anybody remember what it is?
I don't know, but I can find out.
Let's look it up real quick on patreon.com. Again, patreon.com/thehebrew will let you sign up and join us. The reading schedule is posted there, I think, for everybody to see.
119 Aleph. 119
Aleph. Wonderful. So we're doing Psalm 119, and we're going to do a few sections of it. It's the longest chapter in the Bible, and we're not going to do the whole thing. We're just going to do a few sections. So please join us for the first section of Psalm 119 next week. Right after this, we're going to be doing Wine Grain Exercise 37 for whoever wants to join us. And then after that, the English to Hebrew for Wine Grain 37. We are cooking through that book. Booking.
Only, 6 more lessons?
Yeah, and then we're going to have to start thinking of something we can do that's not grammar translation method, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, guys. So we're going to cut over. We've got 5 minutes. I'll see you there at Wine Green.
Sounds
Thanks,
good.
everybody, for joining us. See you then.
Bye, everyone.